Greetings, it's Bonnie, and I'm here with our full Sacral Chakra realignment flow. I'm really excited to take you through this flow, and this one is special because I have nothing planned. The only thing I know is that we're going to hit the poses that we talked about in our previous video, which gave us a full rundown of postures that help with unblocking, reconnecting, and realigning with our sacral chakra. Before we get started, I'm going to encourage you to find a strap and a block. If you don't have those things, maybe find a belt to substitute for the strap, and possibly a tall book, a top of a chair, or a wall, depending on what we do for the block. Now, if you don't have a block, no worry. We are going to start in a supported bridge, and you can just start on your back. Everyone else, if you do have a block, pillow, or a tall book that you feel is stable enough, we are going to start with this on the ground, and it's going to support our sacrum. As we set ourselves up, I just want to bring to attention yet again, our sacral chakra is our center for sexual pleasure or sexual drive. It's our center for creativity, joy, and general optimism. You might be feeling a blockage of your sacral chakra if you are finding it difficult for you to create or go through your creative process. If relationships or healthy relationships feel hard or far away. Or if you feel that optimism and joy are things that are foreign to you for the last 30 days or so. We'll begin in this supported bridge. And we're really not asking a lot of our bodies here. We just want to support our sacrum, which is that inverted triangle-like shaped bone that connects to our lumbar spine. And as you lay here, breathe into the parts of the body supported. When we consider realigning with our sacral chakra, we're really asking to be like water. Fluid and expansive, unrelentless, nourishing and life-giving. Flowing and fluid, without boundaries. Let these elements, these words, permeate your skin and your mind. And as you breathe here for the next 3 breaths, think about the elements of water. You might also consider that water cleanses and allows for us to let go and wash away whatever is really in its way. Let's begin to kick our legs up. If you're supported by the block, you'll notice that it's still holding you steady under your sacrum. If you're supported by the ground, breathe into that triangular shape. And we think about our sacrum as the connector for our legs to the rest of our bodies. Without this part of our body, we really wouldn't have the stable core element to connect the bones, the tendons, ligaments, and nerves required. We'll begin to move our legs gently, one moving towards the face and another away. And I want you to imagine that the legs are wading through water. Right? Somehow the world is upside down and water is levitating. You can think about the gas particles in the air, and there's some level of water there too. And don't be afraid to move through the knees, the ankles, and the toes as you find your feet. A little wave or next few moments.
Every day I drive my car to my little job.
Taking 2 more full cycles of breath.
I find some peace in the stations that I throw on.
Gently begin to place feet flat down to the earth. We want to try and align our feet, ankles, underneath our knees. If you are on a block, we're going to press into our heels of the feet and remove the block but stay in bridge. Those who are not on a block, you'll begin to press into the soles of the feet and lift the hips and stay in bridge. While we are here, focus on pressing into the inner big toe, so that big toe joint and the heels of your feet. We're not necessarily lifting our hips as much as we can. Rather, we're finding a long line from our knees to the tops of our shoulders. Feel the engagement in the glutes. And take a breath in. Exhale, drop your hips to the ground. With both knees pointing towards your ceiling. Breathe. Now we'll begin to move into our open and closed hip posture. You might start with whatever knee feels best and exhale, open the hip. Your inhale takes the knee back up and imagine yourself like those little ball pendulum toys, desktop toys, and you are moving fluidly, bringing the knee up on the breath in, tapping it to the opposite knee, and taking that opposite knee down on the exhale. Allow for your breath to be complete. The inhale is not rushed. When the exhale comes, that knee falls. And again, we're moving fluidly. Sometimes water is slow. Let the breath be the guide as you're moving through. And take one more on both sides. Now when you've completed both of those, beautiful job, we'll bring our knees into our chest, and we'll rock into a seated position. All right. We'll begin to find some neck circles, opening up along the front, the side, and the back of our head and neck. Switching out directions. Let the head come back to neutral. Open the mouth and begin to move the jaw side to side. Just noticing what movement evokes feeling. And we'll start shaking our head from either side to either side. Paying special attention to our jaw. Nice. Open the legs one at a time and move into Jani Sirsarsana. So we're having one leg extended and the opposite knee bent and foot into the pelvic bone. We'll square our hands to our knee and take one inhale looking at your toes. Long spine as you breathe in. Your exhale, take a fold forward. We'll hold for an inhale and exhale. Now inhale, look at your toes. our upper arm overhead and exhale to hinge into a slightly twisted Janu. One breath in, full exhale. Nice. Inhale, pull yourself back upright. We're going to switch sides. Opposite side extends out long, the other knee pulls in, driving the heel towards your pelvic bone. Square that arm, or square the shoulders, and take the hands on either side of the knee. Inhale, long spine. Exhale, we'll hinge. We've got a breath in, noticing what's going on in our lower back, and a full exhale. We'll look at our toes on an inhale and extend the same side arm to the ankle. Your next breath in, extend the opposite arm overhead, opening up through the chest. And exhale, find your version of our private reset, Janu. Take an inhale and exhale. Now pull yourself back upright and find tabletop. The hands come onto the earth, palms on the earth, fingers spread wide, knees in line with our hips. Untuck the toes and take the shoelace side of the feet to the ground. And inhale for your cow posture. We pull our shoulder blades together, open up through our chest. We're anterior tilting through our hips. So our belly is down and our tailbone is flared. Now I want you to look forward and hold this posture. Taking a breath in, exhale. Notice what you're feeling. Inhale, notice if you can feel your right hip. Exhale. Keeping our cow posture. Inhale, notice if you can feel your left hip. Exhale. Full breath in. Cat pose, exhale. So we round through the back, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone, and observe the difference here. Nice job. Let's come to our neutral tabletop. Gaze down through the thumbs, tuck the toes, first down dog practice. We'll extend the hips up and keep a long spine. So we're keeping a similar movement in our hips, anterior tilting, bringing the tops of the hips forward and flaring open the tailbone and our root. As you breathe into this inversion, imagine that you've got this parachute that is just opening through the root, expanding into the hips, creating space for more creativity, more positive relationships. And at this juncture, our sacrum is now in an upright quasi-equilibrium triangle. So our point is now inverted towards the ceiling. And our base of our triangle is now towards the ground. And this is actually going to help with releasing, whether it's releasing toxins and waste out of the body, or if it's releasing negative thoughts, emotions that are holding you back that you need to overcome, or any other stressors. Now you can see I'm starting to walk my hips side to side by walking my feet, bending my knees. And as we continue to explore unblocking and realigning with our sacral chakra, we again remember that crocodile wading through water, side to side, lateral movements, power. Take a couple more moments here in your down dog, whether you're rocking or finding stillness to breathe. Look towards your hands. We're going to kick our right leg slightly up and back and step through for the lunge. We're building up to our high crescent lunge, taking our arms off the ground and extending that overhead. Take your time through this movement. We're going to keep our core engaged as we're here. And now we are building up the strength and mobility in our hips and legs. So your gaze is forward, the arms are overhead, and try to pull the shoulders down. Let's come back to our jaw, opening and taking it side to side. Nice. Beautiful job. One breath in, one breath out. Inhale, we straighten that front leg. Exhale, take the back heel to the ground. So I'm in this now peculiar shape where I've got one hip slightly open, the other foot is going in the opposite direction of my front foot. That's where we need to be. Setting up for triangle, extend the arms out wide to the side. Now a gentle bend in that front leg. Inhale, reach towards the front of your body, or side front of the body, and exhale, we hinge into that extended leg in front. If one needs a block under our hands, find balance, stability, or the ground is just too far, let's bring that block, that book, that chair right here to continue to find stability in our postures. Nice. Take one breath in and full exhale. One breath in. Exhale. Bending the front knee. Pull yourself up, goddess pose is where we're headed. So I'm keeping my arms out wide. Now we got some fancy footwork. Spin that front toe in and turn that back toe out. Notice how the hips both are now open, knees out wide. We want this open space here to release. I want us to close down the eyes if it feels comfortable. Bring to mind the color orange and begin to rock your hips side to side. And I just want you to try and focus on orange, whether it's an actual physical orange, whether you see the color orange. You might even spell out orange in your mind just to bring the entire sensation of the sacral chakra to the forefront. And be present here as you sway side to side, opening the hips. Imagine your body like a long crocodile here wading through water. You don't have much more here. 2 more rocks on both sides. We move to triangle on the opposite side. So, we're going to straighten both legs. The foot that was once the front foot now turns completely towards the long edge of the mat, and the front foot was the back foot before. Extending the arms out wide to a T. Micro bend in the front knee. Inhale, reach for that front leg. Exhale, hinge into the hip. Same thing, if you need the block, find the block and breathe. 3 breaths. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Final inhale, final exhale. Nice. We're going to begin to bring the hands to the ground. Square the front leg and turn the back toes towards the front side of the mat, which was now the back side, and lift the heel off the ground. We move into our high crescent lunge from here. Arms extended overhead. All right, we've got 2 breaths here. Take an inhale, straightening the front knee. Exhale, spin the back heel down. Warrior 2. We open through the front knee. Now we haven't been here yet on either side. open through the front hip and bend through that front knee, okay? So further exploring the hips, building strength and security in our legs and in our minds. One breath in, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Straighten the front leg, pull yourself up, stargazer. Begin spinning what was the front foot towards the long edge of the mat. Open the heart space up, you might even gaze up, and open the arms as though you're grabbing for the sun. And our sun today is orange. It's right at dawn. The sky is breaking. Or maybe you're right at dusk, and you're seeing the orange glaze of our glowing sun. Move back into goddess pose. Keeping the heels turned in, toes turned out, we sit down into our hips. We begin to find that rock. If you want, keep the arms open. Again, embracing the color orange. You can close down the eyes and breathe here. Thinking about orange, releasing through the root, opening through the hips. You are expansive. You are abundant. You have one more breath here. A full exhale. Warrior two on the opposite side. Our back leg now becomes our front, and we spin so that the back foot is facing the long edge. The front toes are facing the short edge. Bend through the knees, open the arms. Take a breath in. Exhale. Nice job. Inhale. Exhale. Beautiful. Final breath in. Final exhale. Back to stargazer. Straightening both legs, turning both toes towards the long edge of the mat. Open the arms. You can take the hands down to heart center if you need a little rest in the shoulders. And we're keeping our hips wide to allow again for the flushing of our sacral. Right. Beautiful job, everyone. Back to our goddess pose. Keep our hands either at heart center or opened out wide. We're not here for long. One breath in. Exhale. Final breath in. Exhale. Release. You are okay. Half moon to our back leg. So my back leg is my left side. And half moon, if you've watched our previous video, is going to be that very open, expansive. This is our peak posture, opening and expanding through our entire bodies. We are going to balance on one foot and kick that back leg up. That's going to be step one, finding this position that the back leg can remain for a while and noticing your drishti or your focus point. When you're ready, we'll begin to anteriorly tilt our hips. Pressing that top hip forward, starting to spin open the back. Spin open that base hip so that we are flying here. It's okay if you wobble, it's okay if you find some balance here, it's just practice. And we're embodying patience as we flow through this balance. Can we take 2 more breaths? Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. How you get down is how you get down, except for no follows. Try to be gentle, and we'll find ourselves back in this open hip, wide stance, hands at heart center, coming back to some stability. 2 feet on the ground. You are okay. Even if that one was wobbly, we can always come back to it another time. We get to explore the opposite side. half moon to what was the flying leg. So now, what's the flying leg is our base leg. It might be a little more stable than the opposite. The same type of process. First, kicking up the back leg. It's okay if the hips aren't right in the position. We'll work on that by finding the interior tilt, taking that top flying hip forward, finding a little back bend. The gaze stays focused on one spot alone. This is your focus point. Remember, we are fluid like water. There are no obstructions for water. The river just continues to flow around, below, and in some cases even through. 2 more breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. Final inhale. Final exhale. We'll begin to come down. Nice. I'm going to heel toe my feet together and find mountain posture. Notice how the hips are feeling and press into the inside of the big toe, the pinky toe, and the inner and outer part of your heel. We'll find a little twist, taking one arm in front, crossing at the hips, and the opposite arm behind you. We're going to walk our hands along our hips, spinning the head around, and coming into a twist that is led by the shoulders. Notice the jaw, try to unclench if you find tension there. One breath in, full exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Begin unwinding yourself here from this twist. Shake it off. Notice what it felt like for your body. Keep the feet firm on the ground. Continue to stand tall. And let's find the twist on the opposite side. As we take our arm and cross it in front, bring the hand behind you, walking the fingers along the tops of the hips. Now, our twist is really originating in our shoulders. So we are going to pull that back shoulder, spin the head, unlock the jaw, and breathe. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And let's begin to unwind. Again, shaking that all out from our bodies. Nice job. Inhale, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, find a slight back bend, pressing the hips forward and opening up through the collarbone and chest. Breathe here for a breath in. Exhale. One more inhale. On your exhale, cactus the arms, drive the elbows down all the way, and try to interlace the fingers behind you. If you find that interlace position, you can grab opposite elbows or find a towel. We'll begin to lead with our heart, finding a forward fold. Keeping the arms behind you, whether it's opposite elbows or interlacing the fingers and coming into a shoulder raise. A couple more breaths here. Finding compression our core. We'll begin to drop the hands, step back to down dog. Nice job, everyone. You want to come back to the rocking of the hips and down dog, thinking about especially the torso as that crocodile wading through water, finding power yet fluidity. Imagine yourself just as that, powerful and fluid. Reconnect with your tailbone area, coming back to that parachute-like sensation, opening up room, creating space to let go. And invite in creativity. Even in this inversion, you're allowing your body to find a different perspective. And sometimes that's exactly what we need for a masterpiece to really come to fruition. We'll come to our knees here. Beautiful. Extend both legs out long and come to rest on the belly. Alright, we'll take our hands out wide. Moving into a cobra posture. One breath in, we begin to lift our shoulders. Again, finding that anterior tilt of our pelvis. Take an inhale, feel the extension to the spine. Hold for your exhale. One more breath in, light touch in the fingertips. One more exhale, and lower. Nice. Bring the hands under the shoulders. Lift yourself back up into your tabletop. And our final down dog practice begin now. Extend the right leg up on your breath in. Pigeon pose, exhale. Take our knee in and cross the shin along the front of the mat. I'm going to walk my back foot away. And I find whatever version of pigeon feels good for me. I open my hips and I try to keep them aligned to the front. Okay. Now I'm going to take my hands wide to my mat here and I'm going to send my heart down. I'm going to inhale, lift up through my torso, open through my collarbone. Exhale, I send my heart down. Inhale, I lift. Exhale, I press. 3 more. Breath in. Exhale. Breath in. Final inhale. Final exhale. You're doing great. And we'll take our hands closer towards our midline, maybe stacked under our shoulders. Begin to tuck the toe on the back side and float back into your down dog. We restart on the opposite side. Inhale, kick the left leg up or your opposite leg. And exhale, drive in and place the shin across the top of the mat. Walking back leg away, you sink into the hips. And be mindful, if the hips feel unstable here, we can find a little lift to the opposite or the hip that is bent. If the hips feel unstable here, we want to correct that first. We're going to have our hips forward, and as though you can at least hold yourself up with your hands, and not so much that you're leaning fully into that glute. If you need support with a block or blanket, most of press that really underneath the hamstring. Once the stability is found, bring the hands out a little wider and begin to hinge downward, leading with the chest. Inhale, we rise, opening up through our collarbone. Exhale, we decline, leading with our heart center. Inhale, and exhale. Breath in, exhale. Final inhale. Final exhale. Lift on your next breath in. Walk the hands under the shoulders, closer to the midline. Tuck the toe on the back side and rise for our final down dog practice. In this down dog, you might shift the hips side to side. And we come back to our tabletop. We'll cross at our ankles and move into our seat. As we conclude our movement practice for our realignment to sacral chakra, I invite you to either stay seated for this meditation or find a laying down position. We'll move now into our meditative flow, which will essentially be us finding a guided meditation so that we can begin to really reconnect with this sacral chakra and find realignment with ourselves. Again, our color is orange. Make sure you release through the neck and shoulders and jaw especially, and find yourself in a position that you can hold. Thank you for joining me in the movement. Get comfortable, and I'll call you back out when our meditation ends. What we manifest is the seed. What we exhale is the root. Begin imagining your sacrum. On an exhale, breathe into your feminine energy, manifesting health, health in sex, health in relationships, health in mind, health in creation. Flow into the next breath in. Exhale. Hold this exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Hold. 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 Continue breathing, imagining this triangular shape. Finding the long top edge of the triangle, the point creating a line downward, and that point creating the final line back to the beginning. Drawing these lines in your mind as you breathe. Creating your sacrum in your mind, this inverted triangle. Inhale down the long edge. Exhale, creating the line down. Hold, bringing that line to meet the beginning. Inhale, long line across the top. Exhale, line down to the point. Hold, line creating start and end connection. Inhale, exhale, hold. Inhale, exhale, hold. Inhale, exhale, hold. Begin imagining another triangle developing right over the base of your sacrum. This triangle has a top point opposite of your original triangle and floating maybe an inch or two above the flat top base. The wide base of your second triangle aligns with the middle of your original triangle. These triangles stacked one on top of the other. Your first triangle, base is up top, long, wide. The two edges narrow in to create a base similar to your sacrum bone. As you're breathing, you're imagining another triangle emerging on top of your first. The wide base cutting across the center of your first triangle. The top triangle, two edges converging opposite of the first towards the top, towards your crown. Absolute. On an inhale, make it an absolute for health and sex. Breathe into your masculine energy. Make it an absolute for health and relationships. Health in mind. Health in creation. At the center of the two triangles, imagine an orange dot. It starts small, but it is radiating, glowing. Allow this glow to grow larger, representing optimism and equalizing any opposites that you might feel energetically, physically. Any stress one feels, bring attention mentally or physically to the pleasure in your life. Any stagnation you feel, direct attention towards areas of flow. Find the union of opposites in this orange glow. You yourself are centered, stable, full of psychosomatic poise, mind and body anchored to your foundation. your balance point low, cultivating creative fluid, unfiltered, powerful, sexual, optimistic magnetism. Let this energy wash over you, ridding you of upheavals, any fear-based cycles, and stress that keeps you out of center. As water cleanses and purifies, allow the flow of your prana and apana to bring you balance, clarity, and health. We'll begin coming out of this meditation, gently coming back to our breath. Notice any tension that one has built up in the body, and greet yourself with curiosity as you reemerge to whatever your surroundings are. Give movement to your body, your fingers, toes, and limbs, and then everything in between with ease. And as you reemerge, I offer you the manifestation of health and optimism and pleasure in today and in your days to come. Thank you for spending this time with yourself and with me. Flow with you soon.